Hey, everybody, how's it going? And welcome to another episode of the Impact Podcast. My name is Jeff Welsh, and I'm the co founder of Impact Results. And we have two guests today, bringing back Mike. Mike, how you doing?
Hello, how are you?
I'm doing well, thanks. And Bijan. What's happening, Bijan?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thanks, guys. Hey, you know what's really exciting about this week's episode, guys? We're at episode number 10. We've done 10 consecutive episodes of the podcast.
Yeah,
Congratulations.
true.
We rock.
Well, I know you guys
Congrats.
haven't been on every one, but I've been on every
Yeah,
one, and I've considered bringing
congrats,
party
Jeff.
hats and all that fun stuff, but we didn't get to that today.
Those little,
Episode
Yeah,
100.
episode we'll definitely episode 100. We'll have to do something special, maybe even 20, because at that point, by episode 20, we should have all the bugs dialed in. Hey, if you guys have watched any of the previous episode, you'll notice that the studio here keeps getting better and better, and you can see we now have a TV on the background screen there, so we can share stuff with you. That's really exciting.
it's pretty cool.
We're looking
I know. I saw it fresh when I came in here, so I saw it about just a few minutes beforehand, and I was like, "Ooh, fancy."
trying to look professional and be professional, and I think by the time we get to episode 20, we should be good. But hey guys, I know that you wanted to hop on the next episode here and talk about some more web related things, some things that could be insightful and helpful to our audience on how they can, assist making their e-commerce site better and increasing web conversions. Sounds like you guys have something special in store for us today.
Yeah,
Yeah, so I
yeah,
can I can sort of start us off because
yeah. Do it.
we were just talking in it was just like a meeting the other day about like how are we differentiating ourselves from other people. And one of the things we brought up was how our web design process goes like with our clients. Um and something that's pretty interesting is that we've had like quite a bit of clients come to us being like, we've gone to other agencies with like a specific design in mind, and they've said no. And it's often frustrating for like the business owner because it's like, shouldn't you be able to just code what I've designed already, or what I've hired another designer to do? But a lot of other agencies have like predefined templates. That they really don't like to stray away from. And so we really like to go deep and figure out what's the best route for our clients.
Right.
Um, and yeah, I mean, I don't know if you have anything more to say to that, Mike, but
Oh,
that's
oh
that's
yeah,
sort
for
of
sure.
yeah.
So, like, what I will say is the default process is for us to, come in and redesign everything from the ground up and just get the approval from the client as we go. But we are very accommodating. So if somebody wants to come to us with their own design and they just want to contract us to build the thing, you'd be surprised at how many people don't want to do things that way. But we don't mind. That saves a few steps on our end. There's no back and forth as to whether the client's going to like this or that. You go back and forth until you really get down on that design to exactly what they want. But if they've already worked with the designer and done and went back and forth and accomplished that, then we're willing to just build out what they want. Yeah, and I think that's unique about us. Like, anyways, we did that semi recently, but we also have mostly been designing it ourselves. I just wanted to say that that's not the default, right? Like, it's not the norm for people to just bring us a comp like that, but we're down, you know?
I think what's really interesting about that approach here is that, obviously new clients that come to us for website projects or whatever redesigns, whatever it may be, they obviously know their industry better than us if it's something that's new or different. And so I think that it's for sure we want to make sure that we take advantage of their input as well, and we don't want to completely shoot it down. That being said, because we've got over a decade's worth of agency experience here, not to exclude all the other experience all the team members have, like we do know what we are doing. when it comes to conversions, because at the end of the day, I mean, it's cool to be able to do a website redesign, but at the end of the day, we're promising increased sales and conversions for a
Right.
client. And it's by all means, we want to take their input. And if it's, a lot of times I think it's valid input, but then we also have some input as well. So I think that you're right. We do have a unique approach that most agencies want to come in and overhaul everything. And that's a lot of times is not like a good thing. It's starting off like
Right.
the relationship with the client on
Right.
a uneasy note, so to speak.
Yeah, and if there's a disagreement, if we have a difference in ideas, from their comp, if I'm like this comp's good, but we should change X, Y, and Z. It usually goes pretty well because I can substantiate, who's right between me and the client if there is a disagreement with a split test.
For sure. Yeah.
And I will report it exactly the way it lies. If they're right, I'm gonna send it either way, and be surprised about that, but. The data doesn't lie. So um, that kind of takes the emotion out of the collaboration process,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because if both options, let's try both. It's a great idea. We have a great idea. Let's try both options,
Mm-hmm.
and then let's see which one converts better. So yeah, I mean, I love it when the client honestly like participates because if there's disagreement there, then hey, you got a split test.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And sort of to add on that, like with the conversion tests and stuff, like because we've done like so many of them, we already have like these designs in mind. And whether you have your own design or if we're building our own design, it's always with that optimized conversion in mind. And so like whatever industry you're in, uh a lot of the time we specialize in like the motocross and outdoor recreation type of stuff. But we've had a lot of other people as well where we're really interested in getting to know like how your customers actually interact with your website as well. And not just like here's what we do with these other people, it'll definitely work for you. And so like what Mike was saying is like, yeah, we're definitely down to try your ideas and our ideas at the same time. And um because our ideas are based off what we have built before, and all of those are based off of results and data. And like, okay, our because our designs are based off that, we're going to come in with our biases and say, well, we think this is going to be a better approach for you. And but then you might come back and be like, I really don't think that. And that's where we would start doing that sort of conversion rate optimization testing.
Yeah, and it's pretty rare, but sometimes Bijan and I will disagree on how to handle some kind of UI element. And then we'll say, let's just put it to the test. We show the client like, and the client's like, I like both, whatever you guys want to
Mm-hmm.
do. And it's like, great. But the good part about that is we can see who wins.
Yeah, I mean, I think disagree. It's interesting, like that you point that out, because I think all too often people consider disagreements as like a negative thing, but it doesn't always have to be a negative thing. Like again, at the end of the day, we're here to optimize and increase conversions, right? Like I always talk about like that growing trajectory, and as long as it's on a positive growth, you're always going to have dips and then increases, just like the stock market. But our job as the agency and the creative professionals is to just test things. I mean, really, that's what we do on all fronts, not just the website design, but all campaigns as well. Like try things that we know have worked in the past. Some things that worked for moto may not work for, fashion or whatever it may be. But as long as we're collecting data, which is, essentially what we do, we collect data and metrics all day long and just make positive, sensible adjustments to that data. It
Right.
tends to be always a good thing.
Yeah, I mean, we're called impact results for a reason. We are very data driven. In fact, I would say most of our software costs outside of Adobe are for platforms that provide data, whether that's reporting or,
Yeah.
you know, analytics and all that stuff. Like we build tools ourselves too. I feel like we have pretty much the most sophisticated suite of tools that most people can access.
Mm-hmm.
At the moment we're even having this one prospect right now. This is a little insider thing. We have one prospect that wants us to have a custom pixel event that is like based on the profit of their
Mm.
product. And we're able to like custom build a solution to where you like we can do that. So I feel like that not every agency could just quickly conjure that up. Could you to go from like the client has this idea as to how they would like the campaign to work. We're like, you know what? Makes sense. Let's go build it.
Hmm.
We read the Shopify documentation. We're like, okay, we got to convert the profit over to meta objects, whatever. Like, you know, I don't have to explain to the user out there how to do it. But at the end of the day, like we are the team that gets things done fast because we are lean, mean, and we can go like fast. I think that's a big thing that we can kind of talk about here that is like stands us out as a especially as
Sure.
a web team because you know we've had people go through that have either worked here or had or been clients and they always assume things are going to take us way longer than they do.
Yeah.
They're like, "Oh, can I get this like in the next 2 or 3 weeks, please?" It's like developers have beaten them down so much that they expect
Right.
the most generous timelines for things, and we're just like, no, bro, we got you. We'll have it done like today. And
Yeah.
they're like, no way, today? You guys must have no work. It's like, no, we have tons of work, but we're moving, you know, we're moving those cards every day. Like
Right.
we're moving them to the right. We're getting the stuff done. We don't have any dead
Well,
weight.
this
So,
this topic is it's interesting because this topic has come up several times here recently about being mean and lean and nimble because I don't think I've ever told you this, Mike. And Mike's been around for a decade, guys, so he's heard a lot of Jeff's stories.
oh
He
man,
probably knows
hearing
most of
something
them.
new live. Okay. Okay.
So, so at Impact, we're a small agency. But back in the dot-com boom of the 90s, in when I still lived in Baltimore, I worked for a company that was a technology-based company, and this was when all investors were throwing money at tech. And then of course it busted, and I eventually moved on. But you know, when the higher ups, the investors wanted adjustments to our tech platform that we had, which essentially was a database search engine on local business, and they were not able to like shift on a dime like we are. And now of course
Yeah.
those projects are much larger and stuff,
Sure.
but and we're not handwriting stuff from scratch. We're just kind of using a lot of tools that are out there, but that's because these tools are provided to us. But that's, I think you're right, Mike, like that is definitely something that has made us be different. One of the many things that makes us different than other agencies around the country or world.
Yeah. Yeah. We don't have processes that slow us down. We have processes.
Say we have
All no, I
processes.
was gonna say all of our process. So
God, don't say
you
that.
didn't let me finish.
We
All
just
of
do
our
random things.
processes are meant, yeah, exactly. Now, all of our processes are meant for efficiency. You
Hmm.
know, not maximum, you know, like you can't deploy something that, you know, whatever. It's like I think a lot of people get lost in the sauce. There's like 18,000 managers that need to review something or whatever before it goes out to the client. And it's like we have such good people that even though we don't have like one, say, art director that needs to review everything before it goes to the client always gets good stuff.
Hmm.
And that is so cool to me that we don't need that extra bottleneck, that extra like roadblock, and
Hmm.
yet we still like constantly just farm W's, like farm wins, you know, like with the clients, like they see the content and they're always like, you know, perfection, whether that's
Hmm.
you know Josh's videos, me and Bijan's you know web stuff,
Hmm.
or you know the graphics that our company pumps out, or it's just it's great. I love that we don't have to have like review things and we just have such good people that we can just execute and we don't need to put those bottlenecks in place to like protect quality. The
Hmm.
quality is already like naturally just really high. I
Yeah.
think that's really special, honestly.
Yeah. And like to add on that, I think like it's twofold on the web end too, because we're directly communicating with the clients. And so they have,
Oh,
you
that's a
know, that
great point.
that personal
I always
one-on.
forget that other people don't do that. Sorry, BJ.
Yeah.
I
Let,
always
No,
forget
you're
that other
good. You're
Michael,
agencies
good.
let
don't.
Bijan
Yeah.
talk, Mike.
The um and so yeah, that one-on-one relationship, you really start to build trust and have this sort of I don't know, this feeling of safety with your website at least. And so like we've had clients that, you know, they've gone and tried other marketing agencies, but they've stayed with us with web development. And it's just because we're, again, I don't want to brag here, but we're amazing, you know?
Yeah,
Um,
by all means,
We're very
look,
effective.
yeah, you guys, it's okay. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
it's when you know that you're good at what you do, and
Yeah.
all of you are, and my entire team is, um, it's okay to talk and to be proud of that. I mean, it's
Yeah.
something we've worked really hard at for over a decade. I mean, guys, it's been over 11 years. Mike's been here for 10 of them. Like,
Yeah.
we have changed so much and grown so much, and it's okay to be proud of the things that you do. I mean, it's just it's something that we're really strong at, is our little niche. But I think,
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know. I was kind of going off on a tangent there, but
Well, a thing that I think a lot of agencies do is you don't talk directly to the developer, and that's sometimes,
mhm,
and everybody knows this. Like the client, if a client is watching this, or a prospect, and they've hired a web agency before, they might have gotten this exact scenario. So sometimes you'll have like one or two like customer facing people, like our customer love agent,
mhm,
but all the developers are like outsourced,
mhm,
and overseas, to be honest with you.
mhm,
So that's why they can't talk directly to the client. They're working different hours than the client, and English might not be their first language. They might be talking on the phone. Whereas, with Impakt, even though we are turning things around faster and outdoing quality on them, like our clients can contact us directly. They can pick up the phone and they can call my number, like press one button, and they get me like within 30 seconds of picking up the phone. There's no phone trees, none of that bull. And you're talking to the developer. So literally, if it's a 5-minute job and somebody calls me, I can do it while they're on the phone before I hang up. I can just
mhm,
be like, okay, let me walk through this. Let me make sure I understand what you want. I click the save button after I've written my code. And then they refresh their browser, like, oh, I don't see it. And I'm like, okay, clear your cache, refresh your browser again. And they're like, oh, okay, I see it now. Perfect. And then they get off the phone, their problem solved. If you have enough situations like that compared to the overseas type of
mhm,
experience, then that's what makes them like stay with us. And honestly, too, our services for web stuff are so efficiently priced because we are so efficient as a team, and
mhm,
we can handle so much work that we end up beating on price and on quality.
mhm.
Maybe not everybody on price, because we're not the McDonald's agency, right? We want to get paid. You guys provide us with free healthcare. It's free for me, not for you.
Yeah,
That
well,
type of thing. So it's create good jobs around here, and we charge less and get the job done faster. I mean, win, 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 win.
yeah, I mean, I think
So
there's also been times too where another thing that differentiates us, like, our sales team is mean and lean as well. So there are instances where we have too many leads, or Mike, for example, will see an opportunity with a client or a previous client or a prospect, whomever, and he can just he's been known to take the lead under his control and close the deal,
yeah,
and then end up being the one managing the production with Bijan as well.
yeah,
And then we've had a
everything
couple of
sold.
people that are just like, wait a second, you're like the web developer. Why am I talking about the contract with you? And
Yeah,
it's because, the other team's busy doing something else, and Mike can do this. And he
yeah.
can, it's more efficient that way.
I'm the one that's going to be quoting the price anyways. So if I'm the one that's on the phone and I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, you've just described to me, I know exactly how many days this is going to take Bijan, and I might send Bijan a quick message if he's in there with me. I'll send him
Yeah.
a private one just to confirm before I say it out loud with the prospect. I feel like that's reasonable, right? Like we want to do a little bit of private conversation there while we're talking to him, make sure we're both good with, can we do this? How quickly can we do this? Whatever. And then I throw the price out. And if they're like, you know what, that is exactly what I was thinking. That sounds fair to you guys. Because yeah, anyways, it sounds fair to you guys. It sounds fair to us. Let's go. And then so I'll say, okay, give me your card number. Here's the scope of work doc. Luke will be sending you a contract, and then he'll send it. They'll sign it. Doesn't even need to meet with them. And I'll do Bijan and I will do the project too. And
That's like his dream day, right?
oh yeah,
Like,
that's like the best day ever. I love that.
that or a brand new whale client, one or the other.
Ah, yeah, yeah,
I
for
know you
sure.
guys, so cool. I know you guys wanted to chat a little bit about some other areas as well, Bijan, in regards to like when we're talking about developers, and you're talking about overseas stuff.
Sure.
What are some of the resources that Bijan that you guys use? Because obviously you two are developers in and of it yourselves, but like you can write all the code. What are some of the resources we tend to use to be able to be this efficient?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bijan,
So
you want to chime in on that?
I think, and this sort of like comes back to the whole efficiency thing too. Um, where sort of like with AI tools and stuff coming out now, um, it's a lot easier to build the same things that you were building before. Um, and I'm talking about
True.
just like in terms of like typing speed too. Like uh and I think there's a whole lot of like controversy with AI too, right? And people are like, oh, AI is taking jobs, AI is doing this, AI is doing that, and then we have a lot of agencies that are saying like, hey, we're empowered by AI, we're doing all these things with AI, and it's like, the buzzwords kind of getting old, and people are starting to realize like, oh, AI is not all that great yet. Um, but the difference between how we use AI and other people, and like so with like other people saying that they use AI, a lot of the times they don't know how to use AI properly, right? They're going to chat GPT or whatever a new AI tool they're considering. And they'll be like, create me a website about this, and then it'll give some sloppy HTML code that looks like garbage. Um, and it's because people still don't have that foundational knowledge of what they're actually asking for. And
Right.
so when it comes
Their
to
prompt is
AI,
not as good.
exactly. So when it comes to AI, and you think you can replace like human work, well, the human behind the AI is still very important. Uh, and
Yeah.
and prompting is still a relatively new skill, right? It's completely different than Google searching. And I think a lot of web developers, they're that's a big skill as a web developer is searching for the answers, searching
True.
for tools, searching for what's gonna help you solve your problem. Um,
Yep.
and with AI, it's a similar thing, but you run into the
Oh
problem
man.
of it's confusing, or it gets confused, right? It comes up with answers, it comes up with uh words, at least in code. Like I've seen it come up with like random functions and stuff that don't
It
exist
hallucinates
anywhere.
sometimes.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
hallucinates. And so, to people that don't have that foundational knowledge of web development and code to begin with, you're sort of in this phase of, well, you don't actually know what's wrong if something is wrong. Um,
Yeah, there could be
you don't,
security vulnerabilities. You don't
mhm.
know.
Yeah, and like you don't, again, like so there's a lot of knowledge and expertise that still goes into using these AI tools to help develop, and we're not completely offloading tasks to AI. And like, yeah, I would like when I hear people doing that, and I'm like, how? Like, why would you do that yet? Like, it's not that good yet. And like
Yeah.
us as a
And
company, we were
maybe
talking about this.
eventually it'll get there, but it's not yet.
Well, I
Yeah.
think one of the things that I mean, we want to make sure that we make really clear is because those that are not as familiar with the type of work that we do, I mean, when they start to hear, oh, those guys are using AI, they're not doing much work. That's not the case. Like there's a lot
Mhm.
of thought that goes into the work that is done.
Right.
It's just another tool in our toolbox. Like it's
Mhm.
just like a mechanic. A guy
Mhm.
who changes tires or changes the oil in your car has certain tools that they use, and they go to the toolbox and they
Yeah.
pick certain tools. AI is just another tool that can fast track some of the stuff, some of the tasks that we do internally. I mean, I've watched you guys. It's interesting to me, like when this chat GPT started to become really popular a year or two ago. I've watched you guys sit there and be able to solve problems with PHP code that would honestly I could never solve because I just never was at that level. But like being able to like use that tool to solve a problem much faster than if
Yeah.
you were to hand code it.
Yeah, and see
Yeah.
that's the thing is we like I'll give you an example of a scenario where we might use AI. So if Bijan and I have worked together and we've coded something from scratch, whether that's a WordPress plugin or whatever, and maybe one function of it is giving us an error. If we could spend an hour or two debugging and have that aha moment, or we could describe the issue, copy and paste our code in, and it can say, "Oh, like you forgot a semicolon right here. You made a human error, and me as a large language model can see that human error instantly, whereas your pattern recognition monkey brain might not see it." You know what I mean? So that's where AI just edges us out, and it is able to provide that extra third developer value. Is it's the best debugging assistant ever, and that might not be fully what we use it for. We might use it for if we want to like get started on a new thing to see what it spits out. And even if it spits out really dumb bad code, we can often use it to talk out and figure out where we want to go with it for our better code. So we use it for ideation sometimes, we'll use it for debugging sometimes, and just for adding that little extra. If we put our code in there and it can add a little something to it. We look at the code and we're like, oh no, this is good code this time, or this is bad code or whatever. And then we can read the whole thing and determine like, did it just contribute value or not? Most of the time, it'll save us these little 5 minute, 10 minute blocks. And the good thing is that adds up with how much we personally use it. It adds up if we can save 5 or 10 minutes each time, then our target as an agency is 150 an hour. So if we're saving 10 minutes, that's $15 less we can charge for it. That adds up as we go. You know what I mean? It makes us more efficient. It makes us more price competitive than other agencies that aren't doing it. And yeah, it gives us an extra developer on the team.
Mhm.
Wouldn't you
Yeah,
agree
and
with that, Bijan?
yeah, definitely. And I don't know if I would consider it like a an extra developer, but because again, like it
That's a
can't
little bit of an
completely.
exaggeration,
Yeah, no,
but
I know what you're saying.
if the guy is just a debugging guy,
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
you know what I
yeah.
mean?
But yeah, I find it super useful for, filling those
Or
gaps of
gal.
knowledge. And like, oh, I know, like you mentioned, like the WordPress plugin. If I'm working on a WordPress plugin,
Word
um,
plus.
WordPress, uh, I'll uh, I'll I'll have my idea and I'll have like in words how I want my code to run. And I'll tell it, and I've been using a different AI tool instead of ChatGPT. I've been using Claude AI. It does much better with coding things.
I don't even
All
know what that
right.
is.
That was
What
like last week. I forgot to mention
Yeah,
that.
and
what's this
I
one? What's this new one? I don't
it's
even know what
called
Claude AI.
Claude.ai.
Okay.
Um, and it is absolutely
Keep going. I just
incredible.
dropped my
I
AirPod.
I sort of laid everything out in like English words. And again, it's high level understanding of how to do things. So I'm not just like build me XYZ and then it builds it. I'm like build me X. X the way X works is by doing this and that, then you need to do this and that. And it's like, I take hours prompting the AI to build me what I need rather than hours doing research, hours doing coding, hours doing testing. So it's like, I have that foundational knowledge. I can tell AI what I need, and then I can scan the AI for, okay, well, it hallucinated this. It this is clearly not going to work because it just got
Right.
confused. Um, and so, it really comes back down to this, we know what we're doing. And regardless of if we use AI to help us be more efficient, the AI work is still going to be very human work. Um, and so
Yep.
yeah, I think that's AI is like an incredible tool, but most people just don't know how to use it yet.
Yeah. True. So yeah, I would highly recommend if anybody's listening out there that maybe it's too small to hire us and they just want to prototype something or they have an idea, start out using AI to help you learn the fundamentals of coding, and then use AI to help you build things in the way that Bijan was describing. That way you can read the code and determine if it's good. You need to
Mm-hmm.
know, whether it's hallucinating things. Is it including random libraries? Because like if it does a large language model thing, it might include a library from like a comment that it's ripping that code maybe from a comment in Stack Overflow, and maybe the context of that comment needed a certain like library of code that you don't need in your project. So you might have be pulling in a whole library of code that you don't actually have to have, or it could be that you need a smaller like sub library of that library to load in, than the full thing. But if you have the knowledge of the libraries you're working with and the code that you're writing, then you can increase speed. You can, not have bloated code. You not have extra security vulnerabilities, things like that.
Yeah, I find it really fascinating. We've gone pretty quickly from an era of not having AI to, and I don't want to say definitely not reliant on it, but somewhat spoiled in a way that it's helped us be more efficient. And in a world of marketing agencies where, again, like we get paid on the results that we acquire for our customers and how fast we are. I mean, it's just an incredible tool that we use across the board. I mean, I use it all the time. I use it just the other day. I was like, I'm going to start doing some marketing videos on this specific topic here. I'm speaking to this people in this tone. Give me 7 hooks for this topic. And in the split second, it's got 7 hooks. And now I've got 7 topics for videos that I'm going to work on over the course of the week. And I don't have to spend time thinking about that. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, it's just become a really powerful, positive thing. I mean, this is a topic we could go down a rabbit hole on for a really long
It
time.
really is. But
Really long time.
I mean, I'm really passionate about the use of AI software as somebody that, like has random ideas for things that I want to
Mm-hmm.
build. Whether like, and it's not just, I don't just use it for my job here. I actually like most of the things I do in my free time. It used to be like web dev stuff because I needed to rank up. Now I pretty much know everything I need to at least accomplish what our clients here need.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of my like independent things, I'll learn and like try to learn a new skill. Like right now, I'm working on some game dev stuff just for fun. And like like it is so good compared to search engines for helping you learn a new skill. Like if I'm learning a language that is not useful for Impact, like C sharp, that works well in like a lot of game engines and stuff. If I get stuck on one line of code, like as I'm going through, say, tutorials, right? Say I'm following a tutorial video exactly, or
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking through, you can use it to get yourself unstuck instantly. So that
Yeah.
way you don't lose your motivation. Because that's the problem. Say you go to like Code Academy or something and you read it really carefully and you're trying to do it like with a new coding language. If you get stuck for too long, you could just go do something else and never
Mm-hmm.
get back to it. But if you have ChatGPT, you can paste in what you wrote and what the instructions were, and it could say, I understand why you would think that, but this is the right way to do that. And instantly get over that friction, and you still learn. You still get to have that aha moment. You wait until you're stuck, and that makes you remember it well. And it's like you're having a personal tutor of somebody that can instantly answer your question for a basic thing at an expert level.
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
think that's another amazing use for it. It's like better than a university. Like honestly, I actually think so. It's like crazy how much knowledge it has.
Well, and that's,
For,
and I'm not trying to get off track here, but I mean, you talk about it better than a university. My wife is the director for a school at the local university, and she's using it on the daily. And now I'm not
yeah.
saying that like in to like shortcut her job, but like in various aspects of finding out information that would make most sense, or
Right.
using it. We all use it in our personal lives, right? Like she
Yeah.
uses it to develop a menu for the entire week with a
Dude,
grocery list.
I do it for barbecue. if I'm learning a
Oh,
new barbecue recipe,
here we go off
that's
on
the
a
no,
tangent.
no, that's okay. That's I think that's what makes this fun.
Yeah, for sure.
Is you don't have to just use it for work.
Yeah, yeah,
If you're not using these AI tools to learn new skills,
yeah,
I think it's ready for that. I
yeah,
think it is like almost as good as it can be, at least at learning the basics of anything.
yeah.
When you get too niche and you get too advanced, sometimes it hallucinates or it doesn't find everything. But if you're like, I want to make some barbecue ribs, there's about 3 bajillion barbecue recipes. It's not gonna tell you to make the barbecue ribs upside down in the charcoal or something.
We
So
need to create schedule another episode for the three of us just to talk about AI in general because
yeah,
we're gonna very easily go off topic
yeah,
here.
yeah. No,
Now
that's
all of a sudden
fine.
we're
It's
talking
fine.
about barbecue and stuff, but yeah, I mean I just I know that we all have some other things going on and stuff. I don't want us to go off on a tangent and not be productive in this episode. Um, Bijan, since you were kind of the guiding light in the topics that we wanted to discuss in this episode, I mean, I feel like we've covered a lot. Is there any final points or anything you want to go over that might be beneficial to the topic of the day?
No, I mean, I don't really know. I mean, we're we're just, we do our best to provide a great service to all of our clients. We try and get to know them like personally as well as their business and their customers and really try and figure out what's best for their online presence. Both on the website and then on the marketing end. Our
Mm-hmm.
marketing team is great. Like uh we found out like last week our average ROAS was like 9x, which is like actually insane to think about.
Yeah,
Um,
the average to be the average number is pretty crazy because I know when we first start, I mean, we still talk
And we
about,
scale ad spend. It's
yeah,
not
I
like we're
mean,
leaving it low to keep the ROAS out. We just keep scaling, and the ROAS is just that
well,
high.
that's because we iterate and those clients that work well with us and we collab. I mean, we're a partnership, honestly, with our clients and collaborate well and work well. We can do great things. And I mean,
Yeah,
I think it's just shows that we're passionate about the things that we're interested in and the things that we're really good at, and we've worked long and hard for that. And I mean, we have a solid thing going, but I think for today's purposes, like I think the objective here was just to kind of outline what makes us different than other agencies, especially on the web front. Bless you, Michael. Bless
sorry.
you. Bless you.
Yeah, sorry everyone.
It's too much of that zero sugar Dr. Pepper.
Oh, dude, don't you can never have too much zero sugar Dr. Pepper.
I don't know
I
if
just
that's true.
well, yeah, I don't agree with you on that one. But that's okay. We can agree to disagree.
That's okay. We can split test it.
We'll split test it with my seltzer, and see who wins. I already know that I'm going to win this one. So, but yeah, I mean, I think again, that's the whole point is we just kind of wanted to outline what differentiates us from other agencies. I mean, we've talked about some of the things that pop in my head. Like we talked about, how we don't just say no to to the clients and
Yeah,
some of their ideas, how we like to say yes and collaborate and just
yeah,
ultimately find the things that are best for the client and the
yeah.
best interest of their business.
Yeah, if you've made it this far and you have an idea, definitely get multiple opinions and quotes from multiple agencies, and include us in the race. If you have an idea that you would like to develop or whatever, I think that we're very competitive for that. So I'm just going to do a quick call to action and say, give us a bid. That's all I'm saying.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. And again, we also chatted a little bit about the AI stuff, but my gosh, I could see the passion in our eyes wanting to go real deep on that. We're gonna have to figure out another time, the three of us, to talk
Oh
about
yeah, for
that
sure, for
because that
sure.
was fun.
See, my vote was I wanted this to be the AI episode,
All right. Well,
but
you got a little
I see
snippet of
I got vetoed by the Jeff.
it's not necessarily it. You just anyhow, we're not gonna
He
argue
he
that.
didn't he
Just
didn't
messing
write in the
with
doc, so
Yeah, you might. The
That's true.
reality, guys, is that Mike didn't look at the notes that I'm looking at on my screen.
Ooh,
It's
don't tell him that.
it's okay. It's
I'm a busy
okay.
boy, all right?
He popped in from a bunch of other meetings, so it's okay. I
Yeah.
know that Mike was very good at just kind of being guided and diving right in. So
Yeah.
hey guys, well, thank you so much for listening to our episode number 10. I feel like we're getting better and better at these things. For those of you that are interested in learning more about Impakt, feel free to go to thinkimpact.com. The URL's here down here on the screen. I think it's up on the TV screen too, with the new Impakt podcast logo. By all means, if you have any more questions, there, hit the let's talk button and let's set up a time to have a conversation. Even if you're not really 100% ready to start, your marketing process working with an agency, we'd love to just see how we could help and give you some insight on some of the things that we would recommend that you could do that would assist you growing your online conversions and sales. So thanks a lot, guys, and we'll see you next week on episode 11. That's right, episode 11 of the Impakt Podcast. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.